All right, we are casting Cartographers 2. TSU C team, I think, is what they technically are. I should know exact numbers, letters associated with each team. Yeah, TSUC. So I think the team, I know for sure it's Kansky, Fluffy Bunny, Nav, and maybe Midu. I think that's what it is. But Midu's been really inactive lately. He's just busy. So, yeah. And they're against another team who I don't really know. I have one on their team. So sorry, I haven't done my research, but Dodo 3011 is hosting. So we'll hop into the draft here. And yeah. So the way that the drafts work, for those who don't know, is there's like 7 different categories, and you basically ban by category. And once a map is picked for a category, you can't pick it again. So here, Dodo 3011 has gone and banned all of the closed maps. Because he had to ban the entire category. So, and for TSU, we've decided to ban what's called the chaos maps, which I think those maps are tough to play without any prep. And I won't say we've done 0 prep, but in my mind, on a scale of prep, scale of 1 to 10, I think we're at like a 2 or 3 maybe still. We've played about 4 or 5 games, which is not bad. Just give us an idea of what maps we might be comfortable with. But I can't say exactly for TSUC, but yeah. So Stranded is technically one of the Nomad maps, and Stranded is pretty similar to the actual Nomad. We played this a good amount. Did a practice game on it yesterday, and it's in the GVDC tournament. I don't know what that stands for, but basically the UK tournament, as far as I know. And yeah, Spiral is considered to be one of the hybrid maps. So water being banned out for Dodo's team, and so that should leave open, and there's forced should be the last category here. So now both teams are gonna ban something from the forced category, and then it'll decide the last map. If each team bans something different, there'll only be one left. If they both ban the same, then it'll be 50-50. I'm hoping to see this whole Forest Pond. We had played that a bit, and it's a very interesting map in my opinion. So that would be cool. So both ban, and then it'll be revealed what the bans were. And wow, both teams banned Black Forest. Jungle Rumble, man, lost the 50-50. Dude, no. All right. I mean, we actually, funny enough, like I played a few games on Jungle Rumble, so I am somewhat familiar with this map. Yeah, Jungle Rumble is going to be a map where you have one player that starts on the inside in an arena-like setting with a ton of gold in the middle, and the other player starts on the outside where there's not a lot of resources, but you are far from your opponent because you're both on the side of the oval or the egg or whatever you want to call it. So, all right, then we'll hop into the Civ draft. So based on what I've seen here, we're going to be looking for at least one set of hybrid. One set of hybrid civs, I would imagine, just maybe some fishing bonus for Stranded. Jungle Rumble, we're going to be looking for, I would say, more arena-like civs, and then for Spiral, we'll be looking for open map civ, because I feel that plays open map-like. There is an element of control the center, because there is a lot of gold in the middle. It's a pretty valuable point to control, so it's interesting to see Britain's banned out here, because I would consider that a civ that I would be picking there. Japanese are a common civ. Maybe it could be played on Stranded to an effect. Same with Malay. So I would say somewhat meaningful bans. Koreans, maybe good for playing on worst map. Chinese, Vietnamese. Vietnamese is always good on Nomad because you can see where your opponents are. I don't think that's too crazy on the Stranded, though. You usually have a good idea of where they are, so not as valuable as it normally would be, but... And anyway... Funny to see Koreans and Incas banned because they're 2 of the better tower civs, and there's a guy on TSCC who is a tower enjoyer. So yeah, both teams banned in secret, and then that's revealed. And then I believe your first 2 picks are also chosen in secret. So Both teams could end up with the same civs here. We won't know until after. Like I said, stranded. We've done some discussion. We've determined that the Huns are really good there. You can grab a lot of the wild sheep and all that, and the wood issue. I don't know. 9 villager start's not as bad. You can get the dock down relatively quicker than you would otherwise. Italians was also discussed as a civ there. That could be good. So imagine some of those bands. Huns probably a more priority pick. I think Huns are just generically good on a lot of these maps, from what I've been told. Yep, look at that. Nailed it. Well, not surprised. We got Persians good on hybrid maps, good on open maps. Georgians, same. So could be a stranded pick. If not, could definitely be good on Spiral. Ethiopians, a well-known civ for Fluffy Bunny, great archer civ. Good civ in general, I think would be good. Honestly, could be good on any of these maps. Magyars. I mean, Magyars is one of Kansu's comfort picks. Good on Spiral, I would say. Probably a potential pick there. Just trying to diversify their draft. Like, Magyars Ethiopians on Spiral, that can make sense to me. Huns Italians, maybe for Stranded. And then they'll have to probably pick their, what's the map called again? Jungle Rumble map picks. Also, apologies for any thunder sounds you hear. It's storming outside. And if you hear any munching noises, I'm also sorry. I just woke up and I'm having breakfast at 3 p.m. Alright, Armenians. Another civ. Great for hybrid. I don't think Armenians, like... in Jungle Rumble, it could be an interesting pick to pick Georgians or Armenians. Because the wood line, you need to cut through to the middle if you're on the sides. And being able to move your mule cart is pretty helpful. Because at the beginning of the game on that map, you are kind of far from the wood line by your allies. So in Dark Age, it's not really worth it, in my opinion, to send villagers all the way out there. But with Georgians and Armenians, you could do the Dark Age and then move your wood line after. Could be a thing. Burmese, likely for Jungle Rumble, I would say. Yeah, close map, lots of gold. You could smush your opponent. So I'd imagine that'd be the pick. Castle Drop's also a pretty good strategy. Burmese get free lumber camp upgrades as well. So if you were trying to cut to your ally, there's a good bonus there. So I'm a fan of the pick. Lithuanians, I believe. Lithuanians are just also generically good civ, especially for their map draft. There are a ton of hybrid maps in this map pool, and Lithuanians are always going to be good there. Teutons is interesting. Teutons, I'd imagine, would be for Rumble Jungle, in the close position. We did do some testing. I won't reveal the strategy in this video, although I think only TSU people will be watching it, but if not, for the element of surprise of what we might see, I won't mention anything yet, but if we see them being picked, then we can do it. But, Khmer. Interesting idea on the Khmer. Because they could cut, right? Yeah, I'm not sure exactly where they plan to play the Khmer. Probably could be a generically good Spiral civ as well. Don't mind that. Saracens, a very versatile civ. Maybe they're thinking of picking it because they kind of did draft 3 Cav civs in a row, and they have 4 Cav civs, so maybe you're just trying to balance the draft a bit here. If I had to play them on a map, I'd probably pick, like, Man, I don't know. Humans. Okay. Humans likely to be on Jungle Rumble. I faced against this myself in the practice game, where the opponent picked humans and walled the sides. I could see how this could be effective, especially if you are not familiar how to deal with the humans. I personally think a strategy like that, if you go for the 2TC boom, you can just play a monk siege push against it. FC monk siege push, which is what I do. And I gotta say it works pretty well. But if your opponent's not super familiar, or you have figured out a way to, maybe open scouts first and convince your opponent you're not going to do it right away, I could see the sauce. And last pick for Dodo will be Bengalis, which I believe is, again, for the closed map of Rumble Jungle. So I think if I had to take a side here in the drafts, to me it looks like Dodo's team is more prepared for Rumble Jungle and for potentially Spiral. And to me it just seems like Persians maybe the pick for Stranded. Alright. Moving into game 1 here. We have Khmer and the Turks for Team Dodo. Sorry, I don't know their name. Let me see if I can find that, so I don't sound ignorant the entire time. Might be more effort than it's worth. I'm just sarcastic in the game. Alright, so it's just Team Dodo, is what it is. Yeah, so I think based off the drafts, they had a lot of options for this map. I'm not really surprised by Turks, given it's a Serena-based look-alike in the middle. And the Turk player has taken the middle position here. I don't know if it's going to be the play or not. I think the way that it normally plays out is pretty... it's going to be arena-like. I mean, it's going to be really hard to cut to the middle before a player can do a push with the Turks, but I'm not really worried about Mr. Fluffy Bunny. For their team, we have the Burmese, and we have the Lithuanians. Now, in the middle is Fluffy. He is definitely known for his arena shenanigans. I don't expect to see towers. Burmese is not necessarily well known for that, but wouldn't put out of the realm of possibility. We have a really great monk push available. And I even think, it's not amazing against this mush. I mean, hand cannons can definitely deal with siege in lower numbers, but, you start getting to, 6-7 monks. It takes a really long time to get those hand cannons out. Yes, you can use bombard cannons, and they will outrange the monks, but the idea here is as long as you keep the Turk player busy in the middle, dealing with your monks, they're going to miss their timing opportunity. Maybe if Fluffy is convinced it's actually a femp, he might just sour anyway. Doesn't look like it, he's moving to gold. And here on the sides we have the Raven. And one thing to note about this map, there's not a lot of gold. Each player has 2 piles of 3-tile golds. And then in the corners, this is where the only stone is on the map. So if you're somewhat familiar with this map, then you'll know to go into the corners to look for stone. So that is something that I would say, especially if you aren't prepared for this map, good comment, bite you in the butt. In the middle here, we have 3 relics. And on the sides, there's 2 relics and 2 relics. So, definitely neutrally placed. Yellow has gone forward and dropped some, I won't say aggressive walls, but this is quite the investment. I do think it's really hard to punish walling on this map like this, but in this particular instance, I don't like how early the investment is in the wall, because if you come forward and wall like this, like as Kansky has done here, it does give you a warning as to if your opponents are coming or not. But your villagers are so far away, you're not going to be able to reinforce the wall, right? So, I think maybe walling mid on this map is more maybe fast feudal stone walls. At the very least, you could also make your second lumber camp on one side and leave villagers there. So if you came to wall here, you can lumber camp, you know, maybe like right here, and then try to cut into your ally space and have access to the middle, and vice versa. But yeah, let's check the strategies here. We've got for Raven looking like an FC, dropping some of those Khmer farms early. Hasn't clicked yet. Has 3 on gold though. Is going 5? Oh, no, okay. So just going top stragglers. But clicking up here, Mr. Fluffy Bunny and 23 vills. A little bit of idle time for Fluffy, kind of rough. Almost 2 villagers worth of time. MC up on how many vills? Is this correct? How does she have so many vills? I don't know. Yes, he did. He did. He's going FC. Sorry, chat. I'm a little disoriented. Not doing my best job here of keeping track of everything. Right, I said the Khmer player was going FC. Clearly not. They had gone past Feudal. Nancy has more villagers because he has gone for an FC. But, and this is a... He also has invested a lot in the wall, so he's probably hurting on res a bit. So that's probably another reason why he's going up so late on 28 vills. But I don't think he'll be punished for it. Green actually himself has walled here, so it's kind of a handshake here. I surmised after playing this map that would be a bit of a stalemate strategy. It's really, especially when walled properly, I don't think there's an aggressive strategy that can holistically do a good job of breaking in and not being slowed down by 4 layers of wall, because it's not that hard to wall on the edge of the map there. On the middle, Dodo will be up to the Castle Age in a minute and 50 seconds. It does look like that's a Fimp timing. 27 villagers plus 2 is pretty common for a Fimp. But could just be doing 27 pop to have a lot of resources to do other things, and that is the case. He has drop farms, so he will be playing for light cavalry and relics. Now, Turks, well-known arena like Civ. Most of the time when people think about them, they think about Fimp. Back in the day, it used to be Castle Drop, Jannies, when they had the 1 extra range, because it was crazy. But the free light cavalry upgrade is honestly such an insane bonus. And it's going to be tough for Fluff to deal with that, because he is going for Smush. Now, Fluff has added in some spears. But he does have 0 food eco at home. And I would imagine he's going to just be idling. This is... I won't say completely all in. I expect maybe to add villagers at some point, but for the short run, it will be all in, and the scouts are going to catch out these villagers that now become light cav, and Fluff is losing the other one to the alligator. He really needs to wall in this villager. Oh my god. Oh. Excuse me. No bias, but I am TSU, so I am biased. And I would have hate to see the Smush stop dead in its tracks before it even took off the ground. So, man, good job by Fluffy to get those quick walls done. And then if we look at what's happening on the other side of the map, immediate TC is being dropped for the Khmer player, who clearly knows that gold and stone are on the corners on this map. So I can only imagine good preparedness here. Maybe he's scouted it earlier, but usually you don't send your scout right into the corner of the map. On the other hand, we have Red Kansky. What looks like to be upgrades for his cavalry, which I'm confused about. He is going to play for the relics, and he has done a good job of walling in these 2 relics here and this one here. So 3 relics guaranteed. That's already a plus, right? It's 2 to go even, 1 to be ahead, 4 to have Giga Chad mode cavalry that kills everything. No, I will say Kansky to me, he seems very far behind. If he can secure the relics, that's fantastic. But what I worry is that there's 3 TCs already built and constructed completely for green. The villager count for green is gonna quickly I mean, it already has created a sizable lead over Kansky. Kansky, I'm not sure what his plan is here, but we'll move back to the middle here and check on the action. We've got a ram push going on here. The smush, we have probably spears inside the ram, and we have some monks following behind. Let's see what the micro will be here. I don't hate losing monks as long as you can kill minimally 1. I say 2 light cap for a monk kill is always worth it. That's kind of the, and if you look at the, in terms of cost, it's 100 gold for a monk, and it's what, 60, 80 food, 80 food for a light cap. So in terms of resources spent, right, you want to kill 2. Either way, it's 60 or 80. I think it's 80, but yeah, you're gonna want to kill at least 2. Good trade there. Food is more valuable than gold at this state of the game, though. But great micro on these spears, and we get a conversion. Okay, I think Fluff will lose another one, and maybe even a mango. But I actually don't hate this. I actually don't hate this, as crazy as it sounds, because if he kills the light cavalry, he'll have to delete his own wall here if he wants to get out. Oh, bro, okay, yeah. All right, now it's well played by Blue. I mean, I thought he might lose more light cap, and I think, especially if he lost 2 or all 3 of these, like Fluff's in just an absolute commanding position here. Sadly, not the case. These spears need to just run, because these actually are not cheap, and you don't want to be boxing these bills. Even if you kill 1 bill, if you lose the spears, your monks are unprotected. Fluffy needs to run here. I think he's making a mistake. The knight shows up. That's perfect. Let the knight batter the villagers. Now Fluffy has converted the stable, and he has built a monastery inside the base, and he's going for a forward siege shop in the base. This is insane. I love this. Burmese, dude, man, gets me torqued. I'm not gonna lie. Love the civ, and I think Fluffy actually just had such an amazing read to make those spears preemptively. A lot of people kind of make that mistake, and they wait to add them after. If he had waited to add the spears after, as we were talking about earlier, Turks have that light cavalry already researched, so they can get into the light cavalry way faster than you can throw down the barracks and add spears. So the push is back on. I think Blue still has moments to come back here. There's not, yeah, this is really brutal to lose these monks here. The spears are dead, the monks are dead. Fluff's 1 knight will potentially save this ring. No. Okay. Well, all the light cap's dead, but the push has come too slow. So, yeah. Good on Blue there to recognize that he could actually take that fight. These monk units are tough to micro. The knight attacking the castle is kind of unfortunate. Castle coming down could mean the end of the push. Oh, brother. I think he should have ran away sooner. Okay, some of the monks survive. So here's something that's funny here. Putting down a castle next to a siege workshop is risky business when you don't have melee units. He needs to make more light cav and then badger this siege workshop. I don't think he will. I don't think he will, and if he doesn't, like, Fluff can very well accrue 6-7 rams and just ram it down. I think what Fluff needs to do now is keep the gate. He needs to keep the wall open. I think just parking some monks just in range. Make a few more spears, keep it open, and once the ram pushes on, then try to go back in. But he might not opt to make more rams. Well, that remains to be seen. Now, side of the map, we've got another TC going down for Kansky, who is working on breaking in on this middle part here. Funny enough, Fluffy will go and aid and try to help him cut in. Now, the problem is green. 78 bills for green, and only 51 for Kansky. There is going to be a window of time where Team Dodo is just going to be stronger. However, I say that Kansky has done a sneak villager attack. He just managed to get a villain. Wow. Okay, chat. I fucked up. I assume he must have snuck this villager in way sooner. Perhaps after he had done the initial wall, so I wasn't paying attention to that, but... So sorry on that. I do believe that that's what happened. He had moved the villager into the corner. after having built that wall. We can check after. I don't want to rewind now. But yeah, this is actually massive damage. This is exactly what we needed. Because Green's build count is just so high right now. So if KT can at least level the playing field a bit, it'll be looking good. Now that's going to be tough because Green is starting to get monks on the field. Green has also got some knights that can defend. It's very hard to dive town centers against monks and knights. I think though, just getting minimal amounts of damage, maybe kill like 10 bills, everything's good. I think that's fine. Now we'll move back towards the middle here. These rams are probably force ejected, if not already voluntarily, and clearly did not get the damage that Fluffy was hoping for. So at the moment, the eco count is very heavily in the favor of Team Dodo. Fluffy went for an all-in strategy, has 7 minutes of battle TC time. Kansky went for an aggressive strategy with sneak, whereas Green has opted to boom. So, yes, the onus was on TSUC to get the damage that they needed to offset the economy that was building for Team Dodo. And I hate to say this, but I don't think that they have. Running in here for Kansky is going to be a little bit sus, but I don't think he has an option at this point because Green could simply just idle his CCs if he had to and outproduce Kansky. So this might be the best it's going to get. You know, Green, you're hoping that Green underinvests in military here and goes in. But now that he's seen what Kansky has, I assume he's going to start adding more. He is housed at the moment. That is potentially what's stopping these knights from being queued up. Oh, and we can check some of the stables here. Yep, so we got 3 knights already in the queue. So if Kansky's going to strike, I think this is the best it's ever going to get. He's going to add in monks himself. And yeah, he is adding some eco at home. So it's not a complete Doom game. I think, like, Kansky also, while this is happening, he could just send bills out here and just stonewall here, like he's already done. And we're looking at a game where, even if the push fails, there will be a window where they can just defend and grow their ecos and hopefully stall the game out long enough to come back. Having 3 of the relics for Kansky is already pretty big. Well, he's brought in 2. The third one is walking back. Yes. So I think my bigger concern would be, how do we get Fluffy Bunny off the ground here? Because the eco lead is growing. The smush basically just can't be done anymore. There's more than enough farms for Blue here to keep his TCs running and just keep one stable light cap pumping. And meanwhile, in Fluffy's base, he is adding down eco, so he's going to try to start that process of building up eco and trying to buy as much time with the forward position as he can. He's mined incredible amounts of gold, I would imagine. He is going up to the Imperial Age. He has bought, let's see, he sold some wood, bought some food. Yeah, so this, okay. The benefit of going Imperial Age with a smush like this is the monk techs that you get, they're quite nice. I believe it's called Theocracy. You can get where all your monks can convert 1 target and only 1 monk loses their faith. And then on top of that, you can get block printing, which is the more important one, where it gives you incredible range to the point where you can convert bombard cannons, for example. So typically with a fasted out of a smush, it's usually a castle drop for the smush player. Wouldn't be surprised if Fluffy buys it. There you go. Stone. As soon as I say, he starts buying stone. So the idea here is trebs and long-range monks. It's a very low eco comp. Like, basically all your wooden gold is going into making trebs, and the remainder gold is going into making and upgrading your monks. So we will turn back into that in a moment there. Kansky now still hasn't committed to the push. I actually think that's fine. You know, maybe if he had forced engagement here and lost his knights, it would be in a terrible disaster. Now, Green is very much boomed. He's already at like 120 bills. Kansky is not. I wouldn't mind seeing Kansky throw down another town center right over here and try to catch up in the military numbers. So right now, Green's saying, I'm still on defense. I gotta wait. The Pike Edition, okay, so see, Kansky doesn't know what we know. Pike Edition's very expensive though, especially if you're going to also be upgrading them. And with Scorpions on the field, these pikes, they might get a little melted. And the idea with the pikes is to mix them in with your knights so that they can do lots of damage in a fight. If you have group of knights fighting each other, and you throw in some pikes, and the knights are focusing each other, it takes a lot of hits for a knight to kill a knight. So your pikes are basically getting guarded by your knights as they deal chunky chunky attacks and bonus damage. Okay, Gantz is going for it. He does have the pikes mixed in. I think he does maybe have the slightly stronger military, but I don't know what's going to happen with the Town Center Fire being involved here. And Green will be able to reinforce his army much faster and is... Okay. Oh, can't see. Killing the Bills. Okay. He's killing some Bills. He recognized that Green had hit the next stage, and he wanted to force the engagement before upgrades were in. I'm assuming that was the logic there. Pansky now, if I'm in the shoes, I spread out my knights. I try to cause chaos in Green's base. You can't fight this head on, right? This is an Imperial Age unit. If I'm Pansky, I just spread out my knights. I try to do as much eco damage as possible. I get ready for the reality, which is my opponent is outboomed stronger military. So the Stonewall's coming down makes perfect sense. I would make multiple layers at this point. I go one here, I go one here, I go one here, right? And over here I make at least one more, like right there. Because yeah, now he's gonna be playing defense. I don't hate his position. It's not good. Definitely would rather be Green here, like has the massive Cavalier already. But the potential for Nancy to have a stronger army is there. Now, Mr. Fluffy Bunny has hit the Imperial Age and he's brought his troops forward, and he is pushing. I think the castle that he placed there is very conservative. He was worried that Green might have too much army. Sorry, Blue would have too much army to deny the castle if he showed Blue where he was building his castle. So it is conservative. I don't mind that. Cav archers, great against monks, great against pikes. Right? Once you get enough numbers, they can just one-shot a monk, and at the point where they're one-shotting monks, you would need a lot of monks to fight back there. So bombard cannons being made now for Blue as well. Free chemistry for Turks means you can make bombard cannons right away. So usually when they are clicking up to the Imperial Age, they'll throw down the Siege Workshop for the immediate bombards. And yeah, this is looking incredibly rough for TSU right now. Fluffy's going to try his best to keep the pressure on as long as he can. Having an absolute abundance of gold, at least, he hasn't really necessarily depleted. Yeah, okay, he is on this last gold in his base. I was going to say maybe he hasn't entirely depleted the gold in his base, but that is kind of the case. And so it'll be a little brutal if he gets taken out of middle. You can see the villager discrepancy right now is about 63. That is, you know, it's a lot. Green now adding in another town center over here. I assume for safety reasons, but I don't think he has much to worry about because Kansky won't be back. But he does not see the side stuff yet. I don't think anyway. I'm in Green's vision. He does now, that's for sure. I guess he does see it. No. Why is the vision thing weird? Okay, hold on. Yeah, he does see it. Okay, there you go. Alright, so back to the middle. Yes, he has made his way to the middle. He has chopped in first. Yes. Actually, Green is a bit of a ways out. And this is going to spell a little bit of a problem for Blue. I think Blue will be able to hold, but he will lose a lot of eco in the midst of it. And this is fat damage that the boys need. Bills being killed. Already 9 bills. Has bridged that villager deficit by 10. Now, if you're Green, you need to do everything you can to get to the middle here. He's got only a couple more trees left. He has a castle. He could just make a ballista elephant and head over there and cut right in. That's what he needs to be doing. I think they're going to be fine. But if there was a world where TSU would bring this back, it is right here. This is a 2v1 through and through. And Kansky has also reached Imperial Age. He is now getting Imperial Age section. This is huge. I think they just need to mass up instead of trickle, though. Alright, never mind. Green is in. How did they get in? Did they actually just cut through? Oh, they honored it in. Yep, makes sense. And I think with Green being here, it's going to take a lot of wind out of the sails of TSU. Oh boy, Fluffy's just recognized it. Can he get the conversions? No. Maybe he didn't realize it, he just happened to be moving his mouse. Alright. That is rough. Villager count, though, getting a lot closer. The raids from Kansky have done a lot of damage. Not only is he raiding in the middle, he does have stuff stables on the sides here, and he's managed to get his Cavalier on this TC for green. So the eco lead has shrunk, but the military right now for blue and green is way larger. We're talking 10k difference in terms of cost of their military. So can TSU hold? That's going to be the question. I think we're heading towards the state of the game now. Kansky is full boomed, so he could go and make his incredibly strong Cavalier. Fluffy himself has dropped another TC right outside his base. I'm not in love with this. It's very vulnerable, but he has to be put somewhere. I think maybe even having just gone into the base here for Kansky and put the TC on like a woodline, like right here, something a bit safer, I would have loved that. So this middle position will be lost. How much time can they get from it, though? Kansky, of course, still causing some chaos over here. I think Kansky should not be spending his gold in these raids. He might just be doing select all stables. I think just sticking to Hussar from these stables would be good at this point, because gold's going to be a problem. If they get evicted from this area, this is their gold income. Maybe something was fine then. You know, argue to mate, spend it while you have it, I guess. Probably the better. I just thought that they were already getting booted out of here. Okay, so Fluff. Maybe not adding in a third TC because he feels it would take away from his halberdier production, which is necessary. I would like to see Kansky focus fire down the Cav Archers. Just simply shift queue all of your skirms one at a time would be good. This castle, it's good, but it's not going to do an immediate threat to the gold for TSU, so not as dangerous as it potentially could have been. But it will. They are securing gold in the middle for themselves, and that's probably what they're concerned about there. Meanwhile, more raids coming down. The villager count has gotten very close. It's going to be on Kansky to hold for the next 5 minutes. There are help being made for Fluffy Bunny, but you know, not necessarily a power unit, especially when being thrown into the fire, castle of fire, and cavalry archers. We had a ping come down for blue. Kansky tried to wall the hole. Kansky tried to wall the hole. Okay. I like it. You can get away with some sneaky things when people aren't paying attention. Fluffy's trebuchet is being focused by the bombard cannon. A halberdier will say, wait, you can't do that, and gave its life for it. The trebuchet to fire one extra shot. Maybe two. Yeah, it's looking pretty dire. I'd like to see the boys mass up a bit. We have Sapai coming in now, right? Or artillery, sorry. Artillery coming in. And, yeah, I just think if Kansky can get a giant mass, affording Paladin, you know, might be too risky. He does have the gold to buy the rest of it. He could. He actually could get it. I think he should. There you go. He's buying the food for it. And then I just think it's get full pop and wait for Paladin, at least as long as you can. Okay, he hasn't researched it yet. Kansky, he just did all this market abuse for what? Where's the tech? Oh, he's being raided. Oh, this is huge. Where the fuck do they break in from, man? They just ran through. Okay, I see it. I see the path there. And they got in. Oh, that's so brutal. Kansky's losing so many vills. It's just so hard to just go and cover. I mean, so many of these farms are so far away from town centers. You're never saving those vills, and he's gonna have to send his military to clean this up. It's so brutal. Kansky's only been on two TC, so he has reached that peak number of vills. But getting back there on only 2 TCs? Tough. Meanwhile, Green, right? Ate a lot of raids. But he has so many town centers to replace. And this castle has held for an unbelievable amount of time, to be honest. But I think this might finally spell the end of middle, and Blue's castle might fall as well. This is incredibly close. If chemistry was in for Fluffy, it definitely would. I'd love to see two more volleys come in. So yeah, it's not going to be enough. Blue will hold on to the castle. And Fluffy continuing to make more Halberdier. The Halberdier for the Burmese incredibly strong with an additional 3 damage, but the numbers for TSU are not anywhere where they need to be. They're basically permanently hovering around 2 to 3k in terms of military spent because they have to just trickle to hold the position. And meanwhile, Blue's Cav Archer numbers are getting up there. We have Onagers coming now. Another break in the wood line like right here could just be absolutely devastating. And Kanski's wall never actually got completed as well. So I have to say it looks like TSU's in some dire straits. I think it's worth mentioning, like, it's fun to watch. TSU came out swinging. Love the smush play. The sneak villagers. These are aggressive strategies. That they found the damage that they needed to do. And I would say they both came certainly very close. The game would have been over way sooner. The play behind this has been good. I think Kanski did a really great job of having the awareness to wall behind when he was losing his forward position. Keeping the raids going to make it messy. Getting to middle way sooner. Trying to break into Blue's base because that was another window right there where they had a small amount of time where they could both enter the middle. And they, again, almost did enough damage at that moment. I mean, they brought the villager count to near even at one point. But once Green was able to bring his massive army in and get the raids down on Kanski, yeah, it's tough. So I'd imagine the GG will come soon. I don't want to say anything preemptively. Fluffy has finally reached 100 villagers. Kanski has dropped the 3rd town center in the corner, like I wish he had done many moons ago. Because town centers they serve a lot of functions, right? Obviously, creating villagers, but later in the game, if you're at 130 villagers, it still makes sense to make more town centers because inevitably you will be losing villagers and you will want to be able to replace them, right? So I think that was really hurtful for Kanski this game, is not being able to quickly reboom up. If he had 4 TCs instead of 2, he would already be back up to the village. I don't say already be back to the village where he needs to be at, but you get what I'm saying here. And now that he's down to about 35 vills, it's they're going for trade. So yeah, expecting the GG any minute. Kanski's army production is near 0. In order to reboom this, he's going to need a solid 10-15 minutes, and I just don't think that would be given to him. The trade cart's running right across the middle of the battlefield. It's kind of unfortunate. Where did they set trade up? I don't even know. I guess he's got his market here, and Fluffy built one. What is it? Here? Let's see. I guess that's the quickest path. Yeah, I guess so. So, more Halberdier for Fluffy streaming out. He's being raided over here on the 2nd TC, but Kanski is there to help clean up. And, I mean, Halberdier comfortably kill everything that the opponents are making. They do die very quickly to Cav Archers, of course, but if they can put their spear on them, they will die. So, Halberdier spam is incredibly efficient at the moment. But Kanski not being able to provide any assistance there, that's what's brutal. A 3rd town center coming down for Fluff, love that. I think Kanski, if he could afford to, a 4th town center would be good, and just really needs to start pumping those bills out. Cav Archer coming up to the wall now. So I think another castle for blue to secure more gold seems conservative to me. They had the military numbers to definitely put this castle a bit farther forward, but I think once they break through the walls of Fluffy, that'll be the end. We check now. Kansky is back up now. Let's see, 52 vills. Yep, still far from where he needs to be. They're going to be taking out some of his production buildings here on the side. They've demolished everything that he had in green space. Blues Cav Archer numbers are getting scary. Castle for green. This is a castle that they need to push. I wouldn't go as far as to say it's a get me out of get out of my game castle, but it's this is the castle they can push to push Fluffy's base for sure. And the Halberdier spam is unfortunately not going to be enough. I hope Fluffy locks this gate here because Hussar getting here prematurely would be a total disaster. I think he's recognized the situation and dropping more bears here. So, CA not being microed, but they don't take too many pokes. He lost a couple. Let's see. Kansky's now trapping down Green's castle from the safety of behind his walls. These onagers are attacking, I don't know what, that was a weird attack round, but the onagers could range this trebuchet and probably this one, so I think if he was paying more attention, he could just use them. And if anything, he could just cut the wood line here and then send this cap out. Yeah, I think he's realized he can kill the trebs, so yep. I imagine these trebs will be going down. There's so much gold in the middle, I'm sure they could buy stone endlessly. If Yancy's paying attention, okay. Oh no! Massive attack round for green! Okay, but he's kept them away at least, and that's what's important. Oh man, that's how, where are you going? He's like, nah, I don't want to get killed by the castle. Okay, bombard cannon, simplifying the job here. Artillery bombard cannons is so fucking crazy. There's 14 range, I think, right? Something like that. Yeah, wild. So yeah, this treb's gonna go down, but good attempt by Kansky there. Meanwhile, Fluffy continuing to just make Halberdier and mash them up in his base and pray. That is the state of the game we're in. I commend the boys in trying to stay in here. I do. I still think it's a tall order. 69 vills only for Kansky at the moment. They're completely out of gold. Lithwing Hussar, an incredibly strong unit in regards to trash, and same can be said for the Burmese Halbs, but you know, in the face of Cav Archers, bombard cannons, what could be hand cannons, and mass scorpions, and it just wouldn't cut it. And I actually think blue and green have done a favor to TSU boys by not switching into any other unit besides just pure mounted units. And yeah, into Fluffy's base they go. Fluffy build count dropping. Kansky, meanwhile, also going to be dealing with some raids in his base. Alright. I'm gonna just 2x the rest of this. Or 4x it. Just because I think the game will be over soon. Fluffy's gonna make an attempt to reboom out here. Kansky has done a decent job here holding, but now blue is running in. His build count is gonna drop again. He does have some Halberdier. They will get killed by the CA. The These farms are going to be raided. This is so much eco right here being lost, and you know, it doesn't even have the eco to spam trash. We have Ballista Elephants and Siege Rams coming in. Trebs will make a run for it, but there's not really anywhere to go. And there you go. So, yes, I have quit out of Capture H. The screen is looking temporarily black. Let me switch the scenes back here. So, don't want to talk too much about this game until I find the next one, because I was watching it a little bit behind, so in case they had already jumped into the next one, let me find that. But I will say, I thought that they put up a great attempt. Here we go, found the next game. Great attempt. The strategies were aggressive. They had to find the damage that they needed to. I would definitely say they got pretty close in doing that. I think Kansky made some incredibly good decisions in walling the side and not just throwing his army to the wind. So he kept the pressure on green, I think, artificially longer than it would have otherwise, because I think green, he did get housed, but you know, at a point he definitely could have forced, and that was in the early Imperial Age. And getting to the middle, Fluffy and Kansky working to cut that side got him a nice another window of opportunity that the other side wasn't afforded. And so, yes, it was a really good attempt. So, yeah, just Fluffy's, you know, Fluffy's strategy, of course, was a bit more all in than Kansky's, and getting rotating from that into a boom is just very difficult. So, second game has started. Like I said, I started probably spectating the last game about 10-15 minutes while I was already into it, so that will get us back over to Capture Age in just a second here. So we are into game 2, onto the home map for TSU. This is Stranded. It's a nomad map. When you start off, your villagers, they were all kind of around this TC. Sorry, I couldn't show you, but generally speaking, you drop your TCs very close to where your vills start, and so the gold's always going to be on this like ring here, and on the sides of the map you can see little one tiles of stone. So gold's always going to be towards the middle, stone's going to be towards the edge. In the middle, you have a lot of trees and hills and relics. So that's kind of the layout of the land. You can see here at certain parts of the water it can get quite narrow, but there is justifiably enough fish to always dock, so you expect that from all players, which is why hybrid civs are pretty common for this map that have fishing bonuses, but you don't necessarily care for, you know, full water dominance. I think Byzantines can still be good with their faster fires if you do take to the water, but considering whether or not your civ has shipwright is probably not going to be important. So, this was the 1-2 pick for Kansky and Mr. Fluffy Bunny in the draft. This was definitely, this is their home map, and this had definitely been in the cards from even before the match had started. So I believe this should be the most comfortable that we see them, and it's, like I said, this is a map that was played in GVDC. Unfortunately, for Brother Kansky, he has ran his horse into the town center, which is quite bad. You know, one of the reasons why you pick the hunts here is for the horse itself, because the horse can get you a lot of resources. There are a lot of random cows around that they don't spawn super close to where people would want to put their TCs, and Kansky loses a villager to the boar. So, yeah. This is a tip for Kansky. When you have this many cows, you just run a cow out here, and when you're luring the boar in, you just use the cow to block. And you can put a second cow like right here. So you could have a couple different layers of cows to body block your... Yeah, okay, I assume he's going to use this villager to block, or no? No. Yeah, I think he meant to. But, yeah, okay. He either meant to, or he had his villager waypoint out there to lure the boar and forgot to move it. So this villager will make it, but man, I think she will. Okay. Dark Age shenanigans, no matter how many times you play this game, things can happen. And the second layer coming in, I don't think this was necessary. I don't think it was on Green's radar to steal this. So I don't think you had to do this just yet. I think you could have eaten this first one. Now, flipping over to Mr. Fluffy Bunny's perspective. He is going 5 gold. Probably going to be a double range. He's got 13 on wood. Now, with this 9 villager start, and especially with fishing being a thing, you do kind of acquire food way faster than you normally would otherwise. And so you end up going to the feudal age with more food than you would in a normal 3 villager start. At least that's been my experience. And so with these archer builds, yeah, I've done something similar where I have at most maybe even 2 on food, if that. Like, you really can just hit the wood incredibly hard here. So that's what I'm expecting from Fluffy. We have Armenians up first. Not necessarily what I was expecting. I thought maybe Italians would be up first. But with the 2-range build, you usually do go up a little bit later. Especially if you want to afford a blacksmith and fletching right away. And, let's see. Let's check division again for TSU boys. We don't know where the opponent is, but on this map, it's not really that hard to figure it out. But it does, what does matter is knowing maybe the difference between if they're on this gold or this gold, or this gold, and scouting it out can make your angle of attack sneakier. You can run through the middle and head over there. A lot of times people would be expecting you to kind of come from this angle, so that's something to consider. You also want to know like where your opponent's taking wood. Maybe they're not taking wood on their TC anymore, or they're building a second lumber camp somewhere that you can possibly deal with. Okay, immediate second tower for first tower for Mr. Fluffy Bunny on the goal. I don't like the positioning of this tower. He's got this side already walled, right? The opponent could actually come and stand archers like right here and range this gold, and when they become crossbow, they can range the entire gold. I guess Fluffy at that point would have fletching and bodkin himself, but personally think putting the tower like in this little window right here makes more sense to me. Like this to me seems like the arc he needs to cover. I wouldn't even hate it if he had put it like right here, so that way he could cover this entire thing. So I don't like the back tower. Yeah, you can garrison easier there. I guess that's maybe the logic, but I think like it's still rangeable. That's why I don't know. I'm not a fan. Yeah. Okay. Fancy's going for some pretty sizable walls here. I don't like this. Like, what's the play here? Opponents on scouts. You wall from here to this wood line, and then what? To here, and then to here, and then like what? All the way down here. Like that's never happening. And Green has thrown both of his scouts to attempt to kill this villager. Kansky with spears in the correct place shuts that down. That is huge for the lads. But Georgia player is probably like, I don't really care. I don't really care. I'm up to the castle leech. That's fine. I just made that just to get some level of initiative. I also don't like his tower. Like, I get that you can just garrison. I get the strength in that. But, like, against range units, it's just, alright. Like, if he puts the tower here, right? Covers this arc. Walls here to here. Like, he can still garrison just as easy, and it covers against ranged. I don't get it. Maybe there's something about towers I don't understand, but these don't look great to me. Alright, Kancy's gonna run his scouts right into Green's spear, and there's also the tower, so maybe he kills the spear in time, but alright. Yeah, that scout's done. He just forgot about it. Meanwhile, at home, he's got a lot of bills coming out here, milling these deer. Don't hate that, because you do need to mill anyway, and there's no berries, so. The blacksmith, okay, fine. Maybe put it. I don't. Maybe put it a little closer to your wall to back up the wall, but I mean, he could drop a house here. And yeah, he is going for those fairly large walls here. At this point, though, it's actually fine because Green's not really doing feudal aggression. So if he actually can just continue to get his villas wall, I think he needs another vill to be walling. If he's going to do a line like this, or even just a line like this, one more is probably necessary to get it down. I don't know where this Phil's going. Is he going for like? Is he trying to wall this one behind as well? Like I don't. I'm confused there. All right. Other side, Mr. Fluffy Bunny has done. Let's see. Sorry that I've not caught this. Looking for Eco KD here. Okay. He has killed 2 but lost 5. I assume that was on water. Is that on water? It was on water. Yes. Blue and red have both done water. And so has green. So, Fluffy not playing water at all. Kansky, light water investment to just defend. More investment from the other side. So, Fluffy has killed 2 actual vills, probably. And red has... And he's lost his fishing in return. That's probably what KD is. Castle Age in now for both Dodo and the Raven. And Castle Age being researched for Kansky, but not for the Fluffster. Fluffy, of course, did go for a very huge archer investment, so he had put everyone in wood. His food eco is a fucking disaster. This is, wow. It looks like a swarm of ants trying to eat a dead carcass. Okay. Kills the mule cart, which is damage. I mean, they're not nothing, but I think it's a small price to pay for salvation of your villagers. Because meanwhile, Blue's been able to keep his entire eco working. Green has now arrived at Fluffy's gold mine. And no armor or bloodlines in yet. He does have the first one researching, so these knights can't exactly ignorantly dive this yet. But it has put a target on this gold mine's back. So if I'm Fluffy, I might consider also adding walls around this gold, like a little U shape, just to help out here, because that's pretty scary. Or he might need to start making spears or something. Meanwhile, the wall that Kansky so deliberately built being destroyed due to the water loss. And yeah, sends his spears all the way over to help defend. Doesn't want Fluffy to lose so many bills. Fluffy's got some fires that snuck around the back. And it's in the fishing. I like that. One or two fires can really cause big problems for people's fishing ecos. And I think if you had been watching this, you could have cut off this fishing ship. But it won't matter, it'll go down anyway. Meanwhile, big fight in the middle here. Archers for both sides, knights for both sides. Where's the crossbow upgrade? Blue was up a long time ago. There's definitely a bigger army for TSU. But there's a lot more knights than there are knights on the TSU side. Larger army versus quality of army. I mean, honestly, it's looking like an even trade here. I don't even hate this for TSU. So unfortunately that knight got away. If they killed that knight, I actually think it's great for TSU. I mean, knights are way more expensive. I don't know, I have to check why Blue hasn't upgraded to crossbow yet is beyond me. I mean, his food eco is not amazing. I think that's the little bit of harassment on his fishing really threw him off. He was perhaps relying on that. We've got attempted rage here for Kansky. Church does save the gold mine. I mean, this church building, I think that's one of those things that people were complaining about before it even came out. And now that it's here, I have to say they were right. It's so insane, everything it does. Garrison your villagers, it fires arrows, it increases, for Georgians, right, it increases the work rate of your workers. It's just kind of insane. Alright. Blue is coming across potentially now to double team Kansky, who has some very interesting walls. I don't know. I'm enjoying watching Kansky attempt to wall this game. It's hilarious. At this point, I wouldn't even fucking bother, personally. Palisade's gonna keep... I guess he likes him for, like, a warning purposes. That's fine. Like, when are they gonna come in here? I don't know. They're just gonna break... If I'm in Castle Age and I see Feudal Age... Or I see Palisade with no buildings behind it, I'm just gonna break in. I'm not even gonna bother running around. But yeah. Luckily, Green's Knights are, like, on stand ground or something, and he's not paying any attention. Which makes some level of sense when you consider that he is quick walling over here, so... He should get these quick walls down. Yeah. One villager will die. Probably gonna try to break the Palisade Gate. The Palisade Gate, honestly, is pretty weak, especially when it's just a structure. And if Green's not paying attention, it will get destroyed. And I think he still gets the CC up, but some vills will die. So... I still think overall, great for Fluffy. Only one vill, wow. Very close, though. And Fluff's gonna get his Knight converted. Delete! Meanwhile... We got fighting in Kansky's base. This is looking like a good fight for the boys. Kansky's gotta be a little careful with these Knights. There's way more archers here for Fluffy than vice versa. But I don't like Kansky throwing his Knights away. I'm sure he's not watching this at this point. He's probably over here. We've got an insanely close game. It's 104 vills to 112, 113. Actually, that's just eco units in general, but I don't know if anyone even has fishing anymore. Like, fishing's been sufficiently killed, except for green. Looks like green's the only one fishing. Blue's gonna try to get his fishing back going. So realistically, I'd call eco around even. Maybe just very slightly in favor of the team blue and green. I think a really strong push to come in here. I think at this point, it's pretty justified if Fluffy were to invest in ballistics. Up to this point, maybe not. But if you guys are looking to do some mucho damage here, he has a larger army size here. An upgrade with the ballistics basically says you either fight me or you start running vills. Like that's... Without ballistics, it could be a sidestep battle. Blue has read the writing on the wall and said, that ballistics thing, that sounds like a good idea. He's going for it. Fluffy, as well, it will be adding University like that. Yep, I think both players see what's about to go down. Now, a sneak crossbow raid for Blue could be fucking brutal. I like this pivot. I like this pivot. These crossbows could totally get caught out. If they know this is coming... Fluffiest few crossbows there did get killed, so they do have some sense. Blue's crossbows from this base haven't left yet. They could send up to Kansky. Kansky's tentatively, quote-unquote, walled. I feel better about it if he had to use Workshop. I think with 6-7 Knights and a few mangoes, he could probably hold at least for a little bit. And Blue realizes that they're coming over to try to cut these crossbows off, and we'll move back. Castle coming down from Mr. Fluffy Bunny. I think it's a fine castle. I would kind of wish it was a little more far forward, though. Kind of like it more here. Like, I think where potential danger could come from is the side and not the middle. Like, if you guys are playing to control the middle, then maybe getting a castle, you know, in the middle itself to siege from, that's kind of not quite the situation. I think, like, both teams are about even. Maybe they're too scared. So, I don't know. I just think this does protect this gold for sure. That's the key resource he's building it for, but I think he could have more defensive radius with the castle being a little bit further out. Maybe even putting it like here can also stop Blue from taking this one. But, alright. I've been scared for the TSU lads for a little bit. Blue's had good-sized crossbows on both sides of the map and wasn't able to convert into any damage. So, that's been really good for TSU. I think if he had sent forward both crossbow masses, the side where a TSU army is, they run, and the other side, it's hard for the opponents to deal with. Excuse me. And yeah. They have positioned their army where I thought they might. stop any threat coming in here. So, it seems like the battlefield has been chosen. See what we got going on over here. Outpost being dropped, I like that. Relic's gonna be picked up. There's not a crazy amount of gold on this map. It's all in the middle. So definitely relics can make a pretty big difference. Green is looking to construct castle on Kansky's face. That's tough. That's tough. I mean, Kansky just clicked Imperial Age. And blue is up to in first. Or sorry, green. Yeah, Fluff now also Imperial. So, getting an immediate bracer. Love that. Waiting for the ARB to come in. This fight, obviously going green-blue's way. Kansky not really fighting this. I think you guys still just need to run. Let's kite back as far as we can. Blue's crossbows can't reach. Kansky needs to be blocking for the crossbows, not just fighting here. I really think Kansky just needed to be covering. Just stay in front of the crossbows at all time. The separating here was bad. If they had both attack moved backwards together, I think this is a doable fight. The crossbows for blue, no bracer, but bracer is in for Fluff, so it would be crossbows trying to catch up the entire fight. Alright, gonna try to dive Fluff's eco. There's a tower and a castle for Fluff to garrison in. I think he missed some opportunity. This would actually be one of those times where Sheik's out there probably would have been better than trying to garrison into your TC. No one really uses that hotkey, so tough to think about that on the spot. They'll be forced to retreat. There's too many defensive structures there for Fluffy. Meanwhile, green is in on Kansky. This is going to be rough. Kansky has knights on the scene. But Cavalier with the 3rd armor versus Castle Age upgraded knights is going to be heavily in green's favor. Crossbows for blue parked outside. Trebuchet coming down now. Let's see. Fluffy's army not looking too big. He's mixed in some Genbos. I don't mind that. Genoese crossbowmen actually they come out the gate. They come out the box very strong. Like, their bonus damage to the cavalry is already pretty good. And upgrading them just gives them extra health and like 2 extra bonus damage against cav, if I'm not mistaken. So mixing them in with your ARB mess to just deal with some cavalry is actually pretty viable. I don't think you need to get elite for them. I would only get elite for them if they're like my main unit and I already have like 20 of them. They do noticeably have 1 less range than crossbow line though, so that is something to consider. Military for Team Dodo is looking scary. Kansky does get enough time to upgrade into Cavalier, but if you look at the count, 5k more invested into the military for Team Dodo. And some good kiting from Fluffy here to get as much value as he can out of his units. This is kind of the do-or-die moment here, so I think maximally effort on the micro is paying dividends here. He's cutting down the army quite effectively, and he has put his trebs out first before blue. And I guess, you know, with this castle position, it worked out. He created himself a little self-wall here. So blue's gonna come repair, but if I'm blue, I'm almost tempted to let it fall just because there's not a lot of stone here, and so he's gonna have to start buying stone at a point. And these trebs for Fluffy aren't really going anywhere without military intervention. So, meanwhile, Kansky is covering 60 bills, cleaning up the raids. He's doing a decent job here. I think they have... Okay, I was going to say, maybe they were thinking about rotating over to Fluff side. And there we go. The castle's down. I think that was inevitable. And this is Armenian ARBs that don't get Thumb Ring versus a Civ that has fully upgraded ARBs. And on top of that, they have 1 extra armor. So it is a unit quality difference that's quite significant, if you ask me. I think Fluffy with like just a giant ball of ARB with like 10 to 12 Jembos mixed in is I wouldn't say could 1v2, but it would be a very formidable force to deal with. Enough so to buy Kansky some time if they were to only focus Fluff, but I think they get the idea here, and they're just gonna take Kansky out of the game, and I think Kansky has to realize this and run. And try to reboom near Fluff, which I know there's not really a lot of space to do that, but you know, maybe fit something in there and put something back here. Right. Yeah, Fluff's army is kind of getting whittled down, despite having the stronger units. Of course, Blue does have really strong eco behind this, and he has the hill advantage, so those two things can definitely tip the tide into favor for Blue. And these Trebs are, I assume that he was trying to work his way over here to help Kansky out, but was intercepted. And yeah, they're going to call it the GG there. So yeah, I mean, there was just a lot of unfortunate events in this game. The Dark Age disaster for Kansky, and both losing the horse and losing his one bill to the boar. I think the walls were just very unnecessary investment, so that put him even more behind. And then we had the Georgian player hitting the Castle Age pretty quickly without taking any damage. Water seemed to go their way as well with about 3 galleys and fires. So just kind of the opener of the game put TSU on the back foot, and that's going to be tough. So faster up times for Georgians all around. Kansky kind of getting stuck. Excuse me. And then it's a tough map. Like scouting, of course, you always need to be aware of. But Team Dodo definitely made the most of their imp spike for the Georgian player. Got that armor and cavalry right away and forced the fight, and that's tough. I think the trade in the middle of the map was a big decider. Either don't engage there at all, or Kansky just needs to kite back with Fluffy, because Gracer was just about in for Fluffy, and they could take a much better trade there if Blue's crossbows are playing catch up the entire time. But yeah, if anything, I think that fight was maybe just a little too early, and then from there the positioning is basically blue and green, middle of the map, fighting up, fighting from on top of a hill the rest of the game. And so even with the better unit quality, it's just, what can you do there? So I know this was a strategy that they had discussed, and talking about how Huns could be potentially the best here, and talking about the strength of the Italians as a good archer civ with uptimes and good quality units. But it's just when you come out the gate with the Dark Age, it's just bad. Tall order, but it's definitely a good effort by the lads, and both games were definitely competitive all the way through. These were clearly teams that belonged on the battlefield together. So yeah, it was a good watch, and I will say that I think I missed certain things in both games, and I apologize for that. Trying to keep up with everything that happens in a team game can be tough at times, especially while eating breakfast. So sorry if you had to hear me munch on a bagel, but yeah, this was pretty last minute because after a night of degenning with TSU themselves, I woke up and then I was like, oh man, open my eyes, get a message. Oh, we're starting soon. Anyone want to cast these games? And so I was like, all right, I'll do it. So anyway, that's that. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the solo cast of this game brought to you by JRad. See you later.